News Radio 700 WLW.
Talking about the use of dating apps to get your foot in the door at companies is becoming more and more prevalent.
Yes.
We're looking at, according to a report, 34% of dating app users say they've used the platform for job or career purposes in the past year. Nearly 1 in 10 say it was their primary motivation. So you're going in there, okay, this guy looks like he's in charge of, well, guy or girl or woman is in charge of such and such at such and such corporation or company or whatnot.
Yeah.
And you go, let's go out on a date and I'll present my case to him. It's kind of...
Well, I mean, probably isn't part of the algorithm, too, that it already... Like, I think they said, 75%... were intentionally matched with people in specific roles. So I wonder if the algorithm, hey, they work in logistics and
right. You have your profile on there, so I'm sure that. Well, let's talk to an expert in the matter. She is Brenda Siri. She is a hiring expert. She's president and CEO of Corporate Connections, and over 20 years involved in this type of thing. Brenda, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Eddie.
So Brenda, you heard us talking there, and it sounds like this is becoming more and more prevalent. What are you seeing?
Well, it's interesting. I think that some of the, matchmaking websites like Tinder and Bumble, they've actually created offshoot sites to compete with, a LinkedIn type of, job board, right? So
wow.
Tinder has created Ripple, which is an app that was specifically designed to compete with LinkedIn. Bumble has created one called Bumble Biz, to allow people to make more professional connections. And I think that what the attraction is here, to job versus just using something like LinkedIn is it gives you the opportunity to make a more personal connection, right? Not just going out and applying for jobs on LinkedIn or trying to connect with someone at a company that you hope would be willing to make a connection for you, because don't we always say it's about who you know, right? That can help you get your foot in the door.
Sure.
But these dating sites have created very specific applications to help people make that more personal connection.
I don't know, Brenda. Sounds like a recipe for some fireworks and so it could be combustible. If, you get the job and I'm dating,
right,
Lori or whatever, and then it's like,
Well, I would think that most of the people that are taking this approach are not really going on those websites to find someone that they can date. They're really hoping to make that connection. I'm a headhunter, and I have people reach out to me all the time on LinkedIn. Hey, I see you have a job posted. I'm really interested. Can you help me? And a lot of headhunters don't have time for that and don't respond to that, where, in a case like this, it's like, hey, I'm really interested in the company you work for. Would you be willing to have a conversation with me? Rather than just applying, they're having an opportunity to make a personal connection and talk with someone. So I think that people that are on these dating sites who are also part of these new applications that have been designed to create professional connections are willing to have those conversations.
Now, is it, as Jason kind of referred to it there, do you see a possible kind of, if you're going to the business side of, say, Tinder or whatever, or Bumble, if you're going to that side of it, sure. But if you're just going, if you're on a dating app to go out with someone to get your hooks into them, maybe you don't know that there's a business angle. Isn't that kind of what we used to call a gold digger? I don't care if it's a man or a woman.
Yes, it is. You're right. But I think that, this is something you can apply to every day in your life, right? How many times have you met someone, had a conversation with them and found out that, hey, what do you do for a living? And they tell you and you're like, you know what? I know someone I should connect you with. I know someone who could really use your services. Or I've talked to someone recently who's looking for someone who does what you do. It's all about connections, right? So, I guess it's the intent behind it. Are you just using someone for a date to hope that they'll connect you with someone? Yeah, it sounds pretty gold diggerish for sure. But if you're, but if your goal is really, to meet people and it turns into something, that can happen anytime. I have plenty of professional connections who have introduced me to people that turned out to be clients. So it's not that far off from what can happen in real life. It does seem a little maybe shady in some ways, right?
It makes sense, Brenda, from a standpoint of, you want to connect with someone who, if they're in the same kind of industry, or I guess it's probably not any different than, hey, you want to go out with someone with the same political views or the same religious views, or, they understand my life as a financial, financial person for some, Procter and Gamble or something. Is that sort of the idea here generally on this? Is that, hey, this is just one thing that you could have in common with this person to connect?
Sure,
over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely, trying to make those connections. And for job seekers, you don't really often get to make those personal connections through a LinkedIn type of application, right? This allows you to make those more personal connections. And maybe look, I know a million people who have used dating websites and gone out with people, and after 1 or 2 dates, they're like, yep, not my type. But there are also situations where people go out and say, wasn't my type, but we turned out to be good friends. And through that friendship, I've now met a couple of other people, and I might be able to do some work with them. It doesn't seem that horrible when you think about it like that.
No.
I think about girls that I went out with, I don't think I'm friends with any of them. But that's beside the point. So, Brenda, let me ask you this. Switching gears here just a second. As a professional headhunter, how is the world out there right now? How, getting jobs? Are you finding that where's the economy out at as far as you're seeing with the job seekers?
So really, it's been a great year. Unemployment rates have gone down. A lot of people have been hiring. But in my world, this time of year is typically it starts to slow down, right? And that is because hiring managers have a budget. They know at the beginning of every year what positions they need to fill. They know how their budget looks to fill those positions. And sometimes throughout the year, things come up where, they have to deviate from their budget and their plan and bring on another person. And then they have to readjust their budget. And they start getting towards the end of the year, and they're like, do I really need to fill these last 3 or 4 positions this year, or could I wait till my 2026 budget? So in the recruiting world, this typically is a slower time of year, but it's not a complete, wash. There are still people hiring. There are still opportunities. And oftentimes people will reach out to someone like me and say, hey, I'd like you to go ahead and start a search, but I don't want the person to start until January, right? Because they don't want people coming in the midst of the holidays. So, but I would say that it really has been a good year for hiring, and companies are definitely still hiring. I think the biggest challenge is that within certain hiring age groups, there are people who are saying, I refuse to go back into an office. I want to stay at home. And a lot of companies are saying, come on, the pandemic's over. We want people back in the office, or we're willing to offer, flexible schedules where you're in the office 3 days a week and at home 2 days a week. So, there are some people who are just adamant about not going back into an office and pushing for that. And I think they're really hurting themselves.
All right. With that, Brenda Siri, we will let you go. Thanks so much. Great stuff. People want to find out more about you. Where can they go?
They can go, certainly find me on LinkedIn, Brenda Siri. I think I might be the only one out there. And my company's website is corporateconnectionsllc.com.
Brenda, thanks so much.
Thanks, Brenda.
You bet. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Jason. Bye-bye.
Right, take care.